it breaks down why we are facing all of this. Why things are so bad. Why things are so out of control. Because it's an exact plan. I've got criminal justice standards, goals, and recommendations for the National Advisory Commission for Criminal Justice Standards and Goals, how they destroyed the police and turned them into what they are now, how they're going to take all the guns, put troops in every city. This is all pre-RAND Corporation. This is Stanford Research Institute. Stanford Research Institute developed the hurricane control weapons, certified in 1967. I mean, it's all there. They have to write this stuff down. They have to write all this stuff down to be able to implement it, and they think we're dumb, so the plans are all right there. This is all a confession. How they're going to get rid of our troops, how they're going to bring in UN troops, how all our guns will be taken. It's all here. This is all Agenda 21 before they even called it Agenda 21. So we're gonna let her lead. When we come in, I'm just going to try to give her the floor for the next hour and 20 minutes. She set up the Second Amendment Committee decades ago. Without people like her, we probably wouldn't even have a Second Amendment. And for the life of me, I don't even know why I haven't had her on in probably a decade. I don't remember how long. It's been close to a decade. We'll ask her when she gets on air with us. I just remembered her the other day because commenters were going, why don't you get Bernadine Smith on? I'm like, yeah, I keep meaning to get her on. And you blink and 10 years goes by. You know how that is. We were watching old home movies last night over at my parents'. I hadn't seen since I shot them 19 years ago. And it's in the same house my parents live in now. And I was sitting in the same chair I was sitting in, shooting video when I was watching it on TV. And everything was pretty much the same at my parents' house. Except now, 19 years have gone by, and I'm old. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, most radio shows will pick 2 or 3 topics to cover over 2-3 hours. And they will basically keep things at a very dumbed-down level. That is not what we do here on this broadcast. We are really trying to inform the public about the global 6 megabanks who have now announced that they have conquered the United States and Europe through derivatives fraud. And we are here pointing out that the new system of government they want to put us under is a synthesis of fascism and communism, where they are exempt from laws and live in total luxury, and we are slaves. Basically, the model has been put into theatrical fiction form of the Hunger Games, or Zardoz. It is a eugenics-based system. Now, for the next hour and 20 minutes or so, we're going to have her till the bottom of the hour, we are joined by someone who hasn't been on with us for close to a decade, Bernadine Smith, the founder of the Second Amendment Committee. She is a political research writer and gun rights activist, and she is the recipient of many different awards for patriotic achievements. And in '84, she formed the Second Amendment Committee, which is a nationwide organization that provides information of benefit to those seeking a peaceful resolution to the gun crisis. She is the only person to receive 3 awards from the American Pistol and Rifle Association, one of those awards for the authorship of the Hanford pro-gun legislation, a measure which supports rights and states' rights in enforcement of the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights. That's stopping the cities from banning guns and violating state law. Smith has also authored legislation to restore the militia system to its proper role. I'm not going to go over her entire bio. Many gun owners have acclaimed the Second Amendment Committee to be the #1 gun defender of the nation, over and above the National Rifle Association and any other large pro-gun organization in the nation. Undoubtedly, Bernadine Smith with libertygunrights.com and the Second Amendment Committee, undoubtedly she has done groundbreaking research to understand the threat. Now, back in like 1998, she contacted me. She'd been a guest, and she said, listen, I'm going to send you basically one-of-a-kind binders with all the proof from the government's own documents, public source, of the plan to end U.S. sovereignty, bring in UN troops, disarm us. Now, that's in the new UN treaty. And it says, Article 15, they'll send in member states to disarm the other country, that only governments can be armed, but only enough for their internal security. And she's got all the documents, not just 7277, State Department memorandum, all of it. Now, she sent me this time, because I loaned somebody one of these years ago and never got it back. She sent me all three of them at once. And one of these I hadn't had before. And they all tie together. And again, it's just full of news articles. In 1937, the New York Times calling for a global government and 9 regions controlled inside the U.S. and all this. Now we're under 10 regions. You understand the robber barons have been pushing for this for a long time. Now it's here. And so she's going to go over the Second Amendment. But to understand that, you've got to go back and understand the State Department, this all came out in congressional hearings, is run by these offshore banks now. That's why they've gotten to the point of admitting that we've been conquered by foreign banks on CNBC and all this. But they say it's good to be under this unelected global government. So this is probably the most important information out there. People like Rosa Corey write a great little 180-page, book, Behind the Green Mask, that we sell at InfoWarsShop.com. It's great to give county, city people so they understand the buzzwords and this global government standardization. But if you really want to understand the wider breadth and depth, Bernadine Smith. And so, Bernadine, it's great to have you here. You know I get excited. I'm going to try my best today to sit back and just guide us in and out of the breaks. And while you're talking, for a record, we also have cameras in here so I can show exhibits, as you mentioned, the page number. So just, you'll have the floor here to break down your research, the big picture. And then I'd like to begin at the start of it and go through the system we're now pretty much under and ways to turn this around. Because the knowledge of this blueprint that you've reverse engineered and that has been proven to be stunningly accurate is the only way out of this. If we can get this message to the people, evidence shows that they will understand it's illegitimate and fraudulent, and that we can say no to it. So again, Bernadine Smith, great to have you with us. Where should we start here today?
Well, I think we have to address the fact that the Small Arms Treaty is coming up, and every treaty has to have what they call enabling legislation, which applies to that particular member that is a party to the treaty. So there is legislation that is prepared, and if we allow it to continue, it will force us to be totally and completely disarmed. Even our military will no longer belong to our own country. As it is now, it practically doesn't, because they use it for whatever they need to force other countries to comply with a plan for a world government. World government, as you've probably had a lot of shows on that, people return once again to being serfs on the land that their forefathers had conquered. So it isn't that we are trying to stop something that is good. We're trying to stop things that are bad. When people are totally and completely disarmed, they have no authority whatsoever. And as you know, everyone knows that the United States is a republic. And the definition of a republic is that the people themselves are the final authority. And the only way that can happen is if the people have arms and they are willing, able to defend that position of being the final authority and a republican system. So this is what we're up against, is because government is trying its very hardest to take away the guns from the people. You know that, and I think most people have seen this since, at least since 1971, when they started out with the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration. That was a guiding commission that the federal government set up and they took over every state, and they tried to get them to agree to changing. Well, they did. They got them to agree to changing their standards and their goals of operation within their criminal justice system throughout their whole state. Well, all of the states complied, and the bottom line is that when the submission of their final version of improvements in their standards of operation and goals and so on, there were some pages that were unauthorized. Up to this point, all of the work had been authorized by the people. They were willing to update and make everything easier and more safe for the people. And that was the main theme, was that they were going to reduce crime. But what the bottom line and the truth of it was that they were intending from the onset to take away the guns from the people. Now, those two things are not synonymous. You cannot take away the people's guns and then have them live under liberty and have a republic where the people are the authority. Once they lose the guns, they're not the authority anymore. They're helpless, no matter what comes along. If they're not armed and able to resist, they are, more or less serfs again. So anyhow, we were fortunate enough that one very brave person had the nerve to go into a federal office in California, in Sacramento, and he demanded that they give him certain documents. He knew what they were up to, that they were planning secretly to get the guns, and so he tried to get, and he did. He finally convinced the man that was in charge of the office to allow him to go past the swinging gates, and he took enough documents to fill the back of his car. And he came to see me because he knew that I was also fighting against the gun grab and the plan for total and complete disarmament, which is no secret. Anybody can go in the Internet and look up Public Law 87-297, and they'll see that our government is planning to give our military to the UN. We'll have no military whatsoever, no Army, no Navy, no Air Force, and we will be more or less captives of a communist world government.
Well, Bernadine Smith, let's go over these documents, because almost all these are public. We've got copies of them right here. We're showing viewers. Radio listeners can later watch this video. We'll post at Infowars.com tomorrow. The worst drought in 50. All right, this is a short 6-minute segment, big 18-minute segment coming up. And for about 20, 30 minutes in the next hour, we'll open the phones up for Bernadine Smith if you've got any Second Amendment questions. Now, again, if you're a radio listener, you can't see this, but